He recognizes the leverage and sweetens the pot, raising the salary from $3,000 to $4,000. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a deep panoramic view across your sources, spanning everything from ancient spiritual doctrine to biting 19th century social satire and even modern epic fantasy.
It's quite a mix.
It is, and our mission is really to find the core human dramas that unite these really disparate worlds. We're talking about the raw cost of commitment, the inescapable weight of legacy, and the high-stakes struggle that just always comes with trying to change.
And what's so fascinating is what these sources reveal. It seems that human beings, regardless of whether they inhabit a realm threatened by curses or, a stuffy London parlor,
Right.
they all wrestle with the same fundamental challenge. It's about deciding exactly what you are willing to give up to achieve some kind of sustained commitment, and then determining who or what is truly worthy of your trust.
Okay, let's unpack this, and I think we have to start at the absolute foundation of commitment. The Andrew Murray source frames this so beautifully as a kind of two-stage invitation. Most people know the first call, "Come unto me," from Matthew. It's that invitation to a beginning. But the deeper one, the one that really defines a life, is "Abide in me," from John.
And that shift from coming to abiding it's everything. Coming is a single action. You do it once. But abiding means staying.
Staying.
Yeah. It signifies enjoying what the text calls unbroken communion. Murray is very clear on this. He says a lot of people experience this immense disappointment later on because they treated the second call just like the first.
So they just came, but they didn't stick around.
Exactly. They didn't realize the expectation was to commit their whole life, every single moment, to that abiding state.
That's a huge burden of sustained effort. So why is abiding so critical then?
Because the spiritual text suggests that it's only in that state of continuous, unbroken connection that the soul finds true satisfaction, that it confirms its pardon. If you only come, you get maybe single drops of water.
Yeah.
Enough to survive. But abiding, that's access to what the source calls rivers of pleasure, a constant source. The commitment has to be total, sustained.
And we see that foundational expectation for total commitment echoed in some of the other calls, don't we? In John chapter 1, John the Baptist is bearing witness to the true light, preparing the way. And when Jesus first meets his future disciples, he doesn't give them a creed or a list of rules. He just says, "Come and see." It's an immediate, direct invitation into an experience.
And that idea of living a life that is, separated for a purpose is just so central to how Paul defines himself. In Romans, he says he's not just a follower, he's a servant and an apostle, wholly committed, separated into the gospel of God.
It's a complete dedication.
So complete that he says the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith. It's this constant, ongoing thing that depends on that sustained fidelity.
Okay, so this is where we can bridge that sort of theological requirement for commitment to the raw human need for it, especially when facing something like the lonesomeness of age. Look at James Oliver in the Not Alone source. He is completely isolated, old, struggling with dimming sight, hearing loss, all in a dark, sultry London room.
It's a bleak picture.
It is. And his commitment takes the form of finding comfort in this vision. A vision where the Lord Jesus comes and sits with me here for a little while.
That vision is his emotional and spiritual lifeline. Oliver himself says, I should be very lonesome without that. His need for communion is so intense that this half-plane vision becomes his reality. It's his attempt at abiding in a profoundly lonely world.
But hold on, if spiritual abiding requires the sustained total commitment, can Oliver's vision, which his sister Charlotte just instantly dismisses as, quote, all fancy, can that really be enough?
That's a great question.
Is that half-plane connection ultimately insufficient? Or is it a testament to that essential human desire for connection when the physical world is failing you?
Well, I think that really raises an important point. The source suggests that Oliver's vision, whether it's literally true or just a comfort of his mind, it serves that psychological need for connection in a really profound way. For him, it is sustaining.
In the moment.
But the theological concept of abiding, it demands a complete yielding, something that transcends a momentary comforting presence. Oliver's experience sort of highlights the gap between what we humans need for comfort and the depth of commitment the ancient texts demand. The challenge is making that comfort sustained, not just for a little while.
That's a powerful transition point because commitment isn't always something we choose moment by moment. Sometimes we're, born committed to a legacy of fate-chosen generations before us.
The crushing weight of it all.
Exactly. Let's pivot to that now, the immense weight of inherited destiny. And we can start with a classic and frankly comical example of pedigree.
Ah, yes. We have to turn to Charles Dickens, specifically the Chuzzlewit family.
They are just a hilarious satire of inherited status.
They don't just trace their lineage back a few generations, do they?
No. They seriously claim descent from Adam and Eve. And what do they celebrate? It's not virtue or achievement, but a history riddled with violence and vagabondism.
They're proud of it.
They are. And this is where Dickens just uses this absurd detail to make his point. Their family historians actually entertain the theory that a Chuzzlewit was responsible for the gunpowder plot.
Right, basically suggesting Guy Fawkes was a Chuzzlewit. They even invented the name Chuzzlewit Forks.
It's brilliant.
It is.
Yeah.
And why does Dickens go into all this ridiculous specific history? He's mocking the vanity of status seeking. The Chuzzlewits commit themselves to this legacy of chaotic self-importance. Their matchmaker matriarch was named for her destructive principles.
Not for making happy unions.
Not at all. It's a lineage built on amusing chaos. It proves that if you're going to be committed to a family, you have to own the bad history too.
So that's inherited legacy as satire. Now let's contrast that low comedy with the high drama of ancient fatal legacy from Le Morte d'Arthur. Here, the legacy is tied not to amusing pride, but to dangerous, destructive desire.
This is a legacy defined by passion, obsession, and its uncontrollable consequences. King Uther Pendragon is so utterly consumed by his love and anger for Igraine, the wife of the Duke of Tintagel, that he actually falls physically sick from it.
Just from the force of his desire.
Yes. The Duke had to protect her by putting her in Tintagel and himself in Terrible. The obsession is so powerful it requires magical intervention. They have to summon Merlin as the only potential remedy.
So we move from the Chuzzlewits, who actively commit to perpetuating their silly, destructive lineage, to King Uther, whose obsession creates a dangerous, fatal legacy that really shapes the entire Arthurian cycle.
And it's all determined by uncontrolled passion, a failure to abide by any sort of self-control or moral commitment.
And if we bring that forward to modern fantasy, we find Isla Crown in the Skyshade source, who is fighting exactly that kind of fatal inheritance.
She is. She's struggling against her deadly ancestor, Lark, and simultaneously fighting the old curses, the expectations, just the entire toxic legacy she received.
The stakes for Isla are incredibly high. The central question is, can she defy destiny and make her own choices, or is she locked into the destructive pattern that her ancestors established?
The survival of entire realms is on the line.
Is huge.
And her struggle is really the ultimate test of abiding. For Isla, abiding means consciously choosing and sustaining a new path, rejecting that comfortable, familiar collapse into Lark's destructive patterns.
So she has to commit to a sustained, difficult effort.
Absolutely. Resisting the gravitational pull of that inherited baggage, just like James Oliver had to sustain his commitment to connection in his lonely room.
And if legacy dictates your fate, escaping it often requires a change of path, and change always comes with an economic dimension, doesn't it?
It always does.
Let's look at the financial architecture of new beginnings and sharp deals.
New ventures force this brutal assessment of priorities. What are you willing to risk financially? What are you willing to sacrifice to commit to that change?
We see that so vividly in Hazard of New Fortunes. Fulkerson is offering March an editor role for a new, ambitious, cooperative, illustrated, fortnightly magazine.
And the key word there is cooperative.
Right. The contributors share in both the profits and the losses. It's high risk, predicated on everyone succeeding together.
And March needs this change badly. He is trying desperately to leave his insurance job, which he says is killing him. So this move isn't just a career change, it's a bid for survival, for artistic freedom.
And Fulkerson knows this. He recognizes the leverage and sweetens the pot, raising the salary from $3,000 to $4,000.
He also insists on New York as the only place it could launch, because it's the only city that belongs to the whole country. It's an ambitious venture, really.
Built on the hope that shared financial risk will somehow breed shared artistic success. March is sacrificing security for a chance at a different kind of abiding, one that aligns with his creative soul.
Now, contrast that structured high-risk venture with the absolute principled financial ruin of Dr. Dolittle.
Oh, this one is amazing.
His commitment was entirely to the non-human world. He loved animals far more than he loved people, and that defined his practice and his finances.
His house became a zoo. I mean, white mice sleeping in the piano, a squirrel in the linen closet, and yes, a hedgehog sleeping on the sofa.
A hedgehog on the sofa. This complete disregard for conventional human society, fueled by his commitment to animals, it drove away every single paying client.
And it wasn't incompetence, right? It was a choice.
A radical choice.
Yeah.
He chose to abide fully in his passion, even though the economic consequences were just catastrophic. His sister Sarah was rightly concerned, warning him the Beth people would never come to see him again.
And ultimately, he got so poor he had to sell his piano and his Sunday suit, the ultimate markers of middle-class respectability.
He ended up relying solely on the cat's meat man, who paid him a minuscule 6 pence a year. His sustained commitment cost him everything material. It's a tragic, but also deeply resonant example of how commitment can destroy a conventional life.
And for those who avoid that kind of self-destruction, they often face predation from others. The Facing the World source introduces this predatory side of New Beginnings through young Harry Vane.
Yes, he's sent to his new guardian, John Fox.
And before Harry even meets Fox, the stage driver gives him this chilling warning. Fox is a sharp horse trader who will, quote, cheat you out of your eye teeth.
So his new path is immediately defined by suspicion and danger.
Right from the start. And Fox's own letter confirms his nature. It reveals the severe economy. He tells Harry he has to personally pay the 50-cent stage fare himself.
And then he reassures him that while they live comfortably, they rigidly avoid rich, unhealthy food. The new beginning is conditional, thrifty, and fundamentally defined by the guardian's sharp-dealing nature.
So we have the economic cost of idealism with Doolittle, the high-risk cooperative model with March, and the cost of simple survival in a predatory world with Harry Vane. Each new beginning requires a different kind of calculation.
Which brings us into the complexity of moral choices themselves. I mean, the human drama isn't played out in a vacuum of right and wrong. It's steeped in hardship, betrayal, and consequence.
The scene from Paul Clifford is incredibly grim, but also so insightful. We're in a terrible, impoverished place called Thames Court with the dying woman, Judith. A man, dummy, brings her a book of plays instead of a Bible and pretends it's the sacred text.
The irony there is just stark, substituting drama for spiritual comfort in her final hours.
And Judith, in her dying moments, is so anxious about her child, who she had momentarily threatened because he looked exactly like his hated father. It's a moment of immense, complex psychological pain.
But she delivers this remarkable insight to the hostess, Mrs. Marjorie.
She says she finds that those whom the world calls the worst are often the most human.
And that statement just captures the ambiguity of urban life. That morality is often less about virtue and more about surviving under impossible pressure.
And the darkness doesn't even end with her death. Dummy later sneaks in and seizes packets of letters from under the bed and hides them.
Which adds this immediate, intense layer of secret motive, potential theft, and betrayal to the tragic end of a woman who is already suffering so much. Morality is contextual, it's hidden, it's consequential.
And that moral ambiguity runs directly into the high-stakes world of the Skyshade source, where betrayal is a shared history, not an anomaly.
Exactly. The attempt to rescue Isla requires the characters Grimm and Oro to form a risky alliance, which is only necessary because of their fraught, shared history of betrayals.
This is a classic narrative device that highlights practical morality, right? Their alliance isn't built on trust, it's built on necessity.
They have to make morally ambiguous decisions that are not easily labeled right or wrong to ensure the survival of their realms. The commitment here is to a goal, and it has to override personal betrayal.
This all connects to that ultimate warning in the Doctrine and Covenants source. It states that the voice of warning is unto all men, and those who rebel shall be pierced with much sorrow.
And the source identifies the core sin as self-reliance. It notes that people seek not righteousness, but, quote, walketh in his own way, and trust in the arm of flesh.
The arm of flesh, that's a profound concept.
It is. It refers to reliance on human power, earthly influence, even inherited status, the very things that Chuzzlewitz relied on, and the very desires that destroyed King Uther.
And the consequence of trusting that unreliable arm of flesh.
Calamity. Delivered from an unexpected source. The text warns that the weak things of the world shall come forth and break down the mighty and strong ones. The downfall isn't delivered by an equal, but by the very things the proud overlooked.
So, to synthesize this deep dive then, we've established that whether the context is theological, classical, or fantastical, the human drama really hinges on two core challenges.
I think that's right. First, There's the sustained discipline required to commit fully to a path to truly abide, rather than just, come and go.
And second,
The relentless fight to escape the gravitational pull of history. Whether that history is a comical pedigree of vagabondism or a fatal legacy of destructive desire.
And that leaves us with a final, provocative thought drawn from the sources for you to explore as you navigate your own complex modern life. The Peter Simple source details how the protagonist was sacrificed as the greatest fool of the family to the naval service, a common but destructive expectation at the time. So where in your own life might you be unknowingly following a path, a career choice, the location, a pattern of behavior that was predetermined by the expectations, the financial pressures, or even the subtle sacrifices of others?
Rather than a path that you have consciously chosen to fully and wholeheartedly abide in.
It's a moment of reflection we encourage you to take.
Grab Crowntide by Alex Aster, now on sale, $18.95. Don't miss this chance and build good habit and achieve remarkable results. Buy now, today.
Like and subscribe for more Bookhaven podcasts.